Good morning to day 251. Sunday, skeleton staff as always. I think we've got foreman in, labourer, carpenter, mason. I think we've got about 4 or 5 people in. But I thought we'd just obviously check in and show you what the Bobcat did yesterday. We just obviously, again, try to level this off a little bit more in a very rushed way. So it's certainly not finished. And we also got some soil around the side for the grading as well. So here, being very close to the water table and the sea, and also it suffers with October-November flooding, it's really essential to try and get the flow of water off the complex sorted, which is bloody difficult, mainly because the complex itself is 3 to 4 feet lower than the road. So that's not an issue. It's only an issue when other people that are already here have built their houses lower. So when you're looking to analyse flood defence or height, and the precedent's already been set by other people that built, it's very difficult to try and build without conflicting what they've already achieved. So at the moment we've obviously analysed through advice that we need to be ideally at the road level to try and make sure the water can come off onto the road, otherwise it sits with you like a swimming pool. But obviously our neighbour has obviously built lower, so it's trying to look after your own complex and get the water off your own complex, but not affecting your neighbour as well. So where we're concerned, we've got like a boundary wall all the way around. They call it a guard wall here. And what we've actually done for him is we've actually built, his guard wall was right over here. So we've continued this guard wall all the way down, as you can see. We've built around in here, this little square here. There's actually a well in there, a water well. So we've walled that off so it sits on his complex. So the flooding basically means that any water on his complex will go into that well. And we've continued the guard wall all the way down to our boundary line. And then what we've done here is we try to put the rocks we took out of the ground, we've tried to build those all the way along to ensure that we can stop the water going his way. And at the same time over here, the entrance into our complex, so there's our guard wall finishes. Then we're going to try and put rocks all the way along here as well to again try and stop the water coming this way. The water's going to land up in here anyway, but it's how much comes in versus how much we have to pump out. So the main thing at the moment is trying to restrict what comes in and trying to have methods of getting it pumped out. The beach obviously isn't ours, so there's restrictions on what you can do with the beach, but in an ideal world you'd literally have some form of sewage stroke pipeline going out from each complex, and the water would run or we'd have it pumped. But there's laws in and around what you can do on the beach, and rightly so, but at the same time that would make more sense to try and have a way of having the water pumped to the beach, and then that way no one floods. But in the meantime we've got to be more courteous and I suppose forward thinking to ensure that we try and get the water off the complex where we can. So let me show you what happened yesterday. So yesterday obviously we started off by just trying to grade the sand away from the house. So again, the water will run and sit around here. Again, not ideal, but better than having it on the house. Most of the water that comes onto the roofs and the patio is actually driven to go off of the complex onto the road. And around here we've taken the mud from the back around the side here. Again, it's slightly angling that way, so we do need to bring it up, but what we need to do is get the Bobcat to get this mud down the back here. So the mud itself needs to run at an angle away from the back, so we need to make sure we're angling down so the water runs this way and around this corner. Obviously at the moment it's going to sit there, so we need to get all of this mud into that corner itself, and we need to make sure the water is incentivized to run around here and ideally go that way. So we need to get some mud up against this wall here and grade it so that it literally runs around this corner. Either way, the water's going to come and it's going to sit. So we then need to think about separate pumping solutions. I mean, from my point of view, if we can try and get it to the point where there's some form of sump in the lowest point here that tries to pump, we run a pipe out into the beach and we manually pump it, and that's what we'll have to do. But yeah, at the moment it's trying to think about ways of doing that, which is quite difficult. Bear in mind I've not witnessed the rain yet, and this year we didn't have it for the first year in quite a long time apparently. So let me talk you through, if I walk you down here so you can actually see what I mean. So at the moment we're still here about where you can see it. Here's the well around the corner here, look. So as you can see, the height itself of that wall is probably about 5.5 foot, whereas we're standing up here and we're probably about 2 foot higher than over the other side. So straight away we're 2 foot here. Obviously it drops back down again around this corner because we haven't taken the mud there yet. So we're quite close to the level it was when we first came in, and then we're up there, look. So we need to try and grade that soil down a bit more, which means the grease trap will be out of the ground, but we need to run it down here to this footing and try and run it around the footing all the way around that side. So that's what we need to try and do, and obviously we need to at the same time grade it that way so it runs away from the wall as well. We also need to find out whether the walls are solid. If they're not, we need to get those poured to make sure they're waterproof and solid. Yeah, and obviously that's road level, so that's 3.8 foot now higher than it was before, which is actually the same level as a road. But again, what we need to ideally is take it up a little bit more and take it towards the road, but obviously you don't want to go too high because of the wall. So we're probably going to have to take the neighbour's wall a little bit higher for privacy and for security. But yeah, I can't see us. There's no real way around it other than that. You see what I mean when you come up here, look. You feel yourself getting taller and taller. And then you're on the actual land itself, look. So we are near on the same height as the road here, which is where we should be across the whole complex, but no one has. He's built off of the ground to get to that height. So he's the same height, basement-wise, as here. But at the same time, his land is on the floor. This wall itself looks like it's 4 or 5 feet tall. But when you get to the other side, you see that there's quite a big drop the other side. So, and you can see the height difference between our wall and next door's wall. So the aim at the moment is to try and take the top caps off to see what's inside them, see if they're hollow or not. If they are, maybe get them poured and come up a couple of blocks to try and actually, one, create a bit of privacy for them, and two, to ensure the wall is solid enough to take the level of water that could come and land on here and find its way that way. The first thing it's going to do is push against the wall. We need to make sure that wall is solid enough to stay where it is. So anyway, yeah, it's about trying to potentially take some more soil here quite high and run it back that way down towards the side return. So I don't know how we can try and create it. It might be worth trying to put maybe a 4-inch pipe in here and run it down the driveway and around, so the water, we maybe grade it to that corner, so the water itself grades to that corner and then hits the pipes and goes around. I think that might be the idea. So I'm going to have a look at that today. Other than that, obviously we're trying to do the staircase today, getting that sorted out. And we can look at getting that poured and getting all this finished off, all this block what hasn't been finished yet, so get all that sorted and get the door frame in. But yeah, other than that, I think that's the main. But anyway, I'll check in a bit later on and when things have changed. But other than that, that's the main aim today. It's literally to have put a bit of thought into the levels on the floor, get the staircase sorted out, and then back into it tomorrow. Quiet day in Barbados today. The boys are prepared. They've obviously dug this out as well today as well. Sorry about the wind. So they just combed it a little bit down here as well. We had the mud taken over from the front yesterday. So they filled in here, balanced out a little bit. I've still got to bring some stuff over. As you can see, it's quite low here, so we need to be high at this end and we need to be falling down towards the end over there, so we still need to get some more in here. The track's been put in for the main gate itself. Obviously the pour will take place Tuesday. We'll do over here first, here second, here last, and then the actual gate track will go in first as well. The guys have been mainly focusing on the stairs today, so it does look better now. It's all level, but we still do need to deal with obviously the levels and water, etc. So yeah, the guys built the formwork today and then put some steps in as well, so they've been poured in, and they've also connected them into the manhole itself to ensure they're stable. But that's been the main focus today, so only a skeleton staff in, so it was good to see that done. And obviously we had the bobcatting yesterday, leveling it all off, so we're going to get this all blocked up as well at some stage in the next couple of days. So yeah, level wise we're not doing too bad in here now. We just need to think about what to do here. I'm going to do a French drain, I think, along here, so we'll get an excavator in, we'll dig out about a foot, maybe a foot and a half along the wall, and I think we'll drop a load of blocks down there to ensure the water can still flow, and then keep the soil away from the wall. That will stop the pressure, and then try and maybe take it a little bit higher that end and try and scale it down here. So at the moment the actual slab itself is 4 inches lower than this will land up being, so the water should landing up here and should run down the side. That's the hope. The downside to that obviously is that we're then relying on it to come down a tarmac concrete surface to come around and flow around and out the driveway. So we'll need to put some time and thought into that before the concrete is laid. But other than that, I mean, that's pretty much where we are so far. So anyway, pretty much over for the day. Next week's another week. Please like and subscribe to the channel. Please keep on commenting like you have been doing. And if anyone wants to suggest talk about the Ring doorbells and the remote alarms and stuff like that, let me know. But other than that, I shall check in tomorrow, and hopefully we'll start the garage. Hopefully we'll finish off the plastering Monday. Should be Monday, and then garage starts hopefully Tuesday, with the driveway being laid as well. So next week a busy week. So I'll check in tomorrow.